It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing talk radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C studios in Lake Georgia, in New York. I'm Bill Calogero. It's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening. Whenever you're listening, I want to give a special shout out to all of our new viewers on the Holyfield Television Network. We appreciate you guys, and we're glad to be part of the Holyfield Television Network sports programming. And also, if you haven't downloaded our app yet, what are you waiting for? Go to Fight TV, that's F-I-T-E, fight.tv/Billy C, and download our app now. And speaking of Fight TV, don't forget, if you want to get the pay-per-view, you can watch it right on our front page of BillyCBoxing.com. That's right. We have a embedded pay-per-view link, so now you can watch all the pay-per-views, not just the big one this weekend, but all the ones, especially the ones you can't get normally on regular old television. So check it out right on BillyCBoxing.com. Today's show, she's being brought to you in a part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant located on beautiful St. Simons Island in Georgia. Check out his website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com, or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. Find out why I go all the way to St. Simons to get some pizza and some fine Italian cuisine. www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by Gawk Box. Guess what? Go create your own account and save even more. What's Gawk Box? Check it out. You can help us and we can help you. Go to our website, www.billycboxing.com, and click on the Gawk Box banner, set up an account, and start saving, and helping. I've got to tell you about that, too. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by Billy C's, Canelo, Alvarez, and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.'s post-fight show. That's right. As soon as the fight is over this weekend, tune it in right here. And we'll be talking about the fight. We'll be opening up the phone lines. Hey, approximately 6 minutes after the fight is over, we'll be live with our post-fight show. So make sure you check that out. And finally, today's show is being brought to us in part by BAM, my book. Tom Molyneux from Bondage, The Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold. You can get a copy right now while you're watching or listening to the show by going to barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. Find out why we got a 5-star rating across the board. And if you're looking to get a signed copy, don't worry about it. Just visit our website, www.billycboxing.com, and click on the book, which you can't miss. That's for sure. Coming up a little bit later, we are hoping to get Dax Khan to stop by and join us and give us some of his thoughts as the week is progressing, specifically on the big fight that's coming up this weekend, and also what's happening in the world of social media. Also, today's main topic, I got some emails to read. We got some quotes and stuff from both Saul Canelo Alvarez and, of course, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. But today, you know what's on my mind today? A lot of things, but specifically for boxing. You know, if Canelo, and that's a big if. It's a big I and a big F. It's a big if. You get the picture, right? If Canelo beats Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. this Saturday night, is he going to finally man up and fight Triple G? Is he going to man up? That's what I'm saying. And to all you Mexican boxing fans, whether you're in Mexico, or whether you're Mexican Americans, or whether you're Mexican and you live in someplace else, whatever, isn't this pissing you off as much as it is every boxing fan? That Canelo, who acts like he's the face of all Mexican boxing fans, is being such a wimp when it comes to Triple G. Now, I don't want to hear, oh, well, they're marinated, they're trying to get more money. No, because he's taken it too far. He's actually waited too long. The value of the fight, I think, has already peaked out. And he's running a huge risk of losing even more money should he not come out on top this weekend coming up. That's my thought today. That's my topic. Who knows? Maybe we'll open up the phone lines later. But, is he going to man up if he wins against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.? Is he going to man up and make the Triple G fight happen next, his next fight? I know he's the self-proclaimed biggest name in boxing right now. I disagree. But will he man up? Joining me right now, my partner in crime, all the way from beautiful St. Simons Island, Georgia. He's a New Jersey Boxing Hall of Famer. He's a Guinness Book of World Record holder. He can make some pretty darn good Italian food. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, childrens of all ages, please welcome the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sal Rocky Senakola. What's up, Sal?
Billy C., good morning. How are you?
Oh, you sound so much better, Sal. So much better.
I took Alex's advice. I had some soup, and I got some rest.
There you go. I hope you threw down a couple of cough drops, too,
Maybe that, but, scotch didn't hurt me either.
Hey, I've been, I think I've been buying bottles of scotch that have a hole in the bottle. I mean, it's just, it seems to be emptying out a lot quicker lately than normal.
Medicinal.
This is true. Hey, Sal, should Canelo win this weekend, and we both feel that that's a big if, but if he wins, what's your thoughts on him manning up? And I'm using that term today because, I'm Italian and you're Italian, of course, descent, and I don't know, I can't think of how a Mexican or a Mexican heritage person would feel. But if Canelo was Italian, I certainly would. And when he's made the statement like, "All Mexicans, we don't F around," and then he's been ducking Triple G. I mean, does he have to man up and fight Triple G next? What's your thoughts?
Taking ethnicities out of it, the equation.
Yeah, but I think that's important. I think that's an important part.
It is, and that's a good comparable. I will tell you this. I was going to go somewhere, but here I'm going to stay right here. When you look at the passion, the fire, the heritage, the tradition, it's like I'm passionate about our culture being of Italian descent. Of course, I'm passionate about being an American and here in the United States, but our family roots, our tradition, our heritage, our lifeline. We are perfectionists. We strive to be the best, to do the best. That's just the way we were raised. That's what our forefathers, our parents, our heritage. It breeds us and it gives us that incentive, that fire in the belly, if you will. And I believe the same, or there's very similar characteristics with the Mexicans that are raised with that kind of family tradition and burning desire on some levels to be the best. So when you look at Canelo Alvarez and Julio Cesar Chavez fighting each other in less than 76 hours, they will put on a good show, I'm sure. And if Canelo Alvarez is fortunate enough, which I don't know if he's going to be, but if he is fortunate enough to beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., I'll tell you, right then and there, he should ride that wagon and he should be calling for Triple G showdown time. And that's all. That's the definitive move to do, and that will definitely level all playing fields going in, out, and around. And that will be the fight that we will have our eyes on by the end of the year. That's the only thing he should do is call for Triple G and him to get into the ring.
Well, the last time Triple G was ringside for one of Canelo's fights, he was there expecting to get Canelo after that fight, and that was the same night that Canelo grabs the mic and says, "I'll fight him right now. I'll fight him right now." He's pointing at him, looking at him. He's going, "Us Mexicans don't F around, blah, 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 blah." And then he made a complete about face, and, he's arguably chose a much, much easier path. Now, I'm not suggesting that this weekend's fight is going to be an easy fight. We've talked about that earlier in the week. But I just here's the thing. When yesterday we were talking about, and you mentioned all the time the term round robin, when fighters fight each other several times, or they fight a series of guys, they all fight each other, kind of. And yesterday we pointed out that that's what makes great fighters, when they have great dance partners to fight, and they make each other better. They raise the bar, so to speak. And the way today's boxing is, and, Floyd Mayweather was successful at it, and Canelo obviously is trying to copy off of Floyd like everyone else. They do like Bob Arum said of Top Rank, marinate. Let's marinate the fight. Let's wait around. We waited around for Manny Pacquiao against Floyd Mayweather for 5 years, and look what happened. It was anticlimactic. So Canelo's like waiting around. Oh, okay, this is a big fight. Let's wait. Let's marinate. Oh, let's do this. Who's the A side? Who's getting the more money? Blah, blah, blah. And, they're preventing these round robins, so to speak. They're preventing creating, multiple fights and ultimately multiple money. And at the end of the day, it's all shallow promises. Triple G may have made a mistake by passing up a unification fight, a possibility of a unification fight with even though it wouldn't be a competitive fight in my opinion, but Billy Joe Saunders happens to have the only belt that Triple G does not. And I think, and obviously his team waited once again in the hopes that, after this fight this weekend, and should Canelo come out on top, that they would have a showdown in September. Maybe he made a mistake. What happens if Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight? I think that the Triple G Saul Canelo Alvarez fight should have already happened. As a matter of fact, Sal, I think that's the fight that we should be talking about right now, that should be happening right now on Cinco de Mayo weekend. What do you think?
Well, yes, in a perfect world it would have been. And but here we are, Cinco de Mayo weekend. What better way to celebrate it with two Mexican warriors facing each other? Yes, it could have happened. It should have happened. This should be the weekend we're talking about, Triple G and Canelo Alvarez. However, I think if we see the results after Saturday night with Canelo Alvarez, if he should get past and beat Chavez Jr., then instantly, as soon as that hand is raised, we should start talking and start seeing a Triple G Canelo Alvarez showdown before the end of this year. Because, like I said, I think it would be perfect timing. I think the fans will demand it. I think there will not be, if it doesn't happen this year, it's going to be far too over marinated, if you will, and done if it doesn't happen by the end of this year. And around robin, I was talking about also, there's many scenarios, but you can't deny 30 years ago the greatness between three fighters in the same division, Hagler, Leonard, and Hearns. Those guys just fought each other. They gave what they had from their heart, their mind, their conditioning, their soul, their spirit, and they gave the fans what fight fans expect to see: greatness.
Don't forget Duran. Put Duran in that mix.
Man, no, that was the whole round robin with Duran as well. And you look at them; they all fought each other, and it was a pinnacle moment. It was the top of the crest. It was
time. It was time to just hold that thought, because we got to take a break, Sal. So we'll be back in about 2, and we can finish talking about that. And I got something else that's kind of strange, but we'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Have you heard? Proactive Plus is faster and better than ever. Stay tuned for a $1 million bottle giveaway, and you'll also receive free shipping. Do you have troubled skin? Acne? Well, we have great news. With Proactive Plus, your acne can heal, and you can help prevent new breakouts from happening. Don't miss this limited time offer. Give us a call at 800-567-0214 because we're going to let 1 million people try Proactive Plus risk-free and get 2 free gifts and also receive free shipping when you call right now. You heard it. This offer won't last long. So call Proactive Plus now and you'll receive a 60-day risk-free trial of Proactive Plus, 2 free extras, and free shipping. Call 800-567-0214. This is our exclusive radio offer, never on TV. Get your risk-free 60-day trial of Proactive Plus with free shipping. That's right, free shipping. Don't wait. Call 800-567-0214. That's 800-567-0214.
This message is for all Americans that owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS. Look, I know you want to keep ignoring those letters, but the problem isn't going away. It's really stressful.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional.
Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening or watching the Billy C. Show. Glad to be with you today, and we're certainly glad to have you with us today. So anyway, I'm here with my man Sal Rocky Senakola, and we're talking about the marination process of the fact that Canelo Alvarez has been really, in my opinion, ducking Triple G. And the thought we said just before you went to break, Sal, was, back in the 80s when the Fab Four, Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, and, of course, Roberto Duran, all fought each other. And there was always a good fight among whoever was fighting who. And that's something that we've, and the fans, you guys have missed out on of late. And, I think that Canelo Alvarez, and maybe because of the greed factor, and I'm not going to knock anybody for trying to make more money for fighting less, but, the anticipation of a showdown with Triple G is there. And I think it may have lost some of its luster, especially coming on the heels of the demand and the waiting period that we all had to suffer through for the fight that everybody wanted between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, and then we end up with an anticlimactic fight, and maybe it's still in the people's back of their minds that could happen with Triple G and Canelo. What do you think?
I think it's in the back of people's minds because it certainly can happen. That's why I'm saying if it's going to happen, it's got to happen this year, and it's got to happen and be declared. If Canelo Alvarez should get past Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., which, is not going to be an easy task in my opinion.
No.
It's got to happen, though, Bill. It's got to happen. It's got to happen this year.
I mean, the fight definitely has to happen this year. I just, I don't know.
Maybe that's why Canelo didn't take on a fight right now, and Billy Joe Saunders or so. He's maybe he's waiting. Maybe he wants to see what's happening this weekend, and he's training lightly, and maybe he's gonna say, hey, you know what? 3-4 months, we're gonna get it on.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
It's happening,
sweetheart.
Um,
Anyway, I mean, that's the fight that we want to see, at least in the middleweight division. A lot of people feel that Triple G has lost a step. And, in Canelo's, defense, so to speak, I mean, I know that they're waiting as long as they can, and they're hoping that Triple G ages, and his last 2 performances haven't been that great. And maybe they think the time is right. Plus, if after this fight they wait another, several months, 6 months to September, again, he's no spring chicken, and Triple G is on the way downward, I think, But anyway, the big fight this weekend, you and I have both been talking about it for a while now. It's not going to be an easy fight for Saul Canelo Alvarez. I saw some. They had the final press conference for these guys, and of course, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., Papa Chavez, and Oscar De La Hoya both got some time and speaking and so on and so forth. But I was looking at the fighters, and what I saw was Canelo Alvarez looking good. I mean, he looked very stocky and comfortable at the weight. I mean, it is being fought at a catch weight, 164.5 pounds. And he seemed very comfy. He seemed like he was in his own comfort zone. And then when I looked at Julio Cesar Chavez, he does look thin, Sal. I think he does look thin. Teddy Atlas made a statement that he felt that he was nervous, that he sort of was dressed all bundled up. He had a ski hat on. He had big sunglasses covering most of his face. He had his workout clothes on, not ones that he would physically use, but like they call them. I don't know what they call them, but
sweat.
it was sweats, but it wasn't really made out of that. But fancy sweats, whatever,
fancy garments.
Yeah, a fancy garment, and he zipped up to his neck, and Teddy Atlas made a statement that he seemed like he was hiding, and maybe he had a point there. I don't know. He doesn't look he's bigger than Canelo in terms of height, but certainly not build. What did you see?
I saw the same thing. Teddy made some pretty neat observations. How he related to the press was pretty interesting. But I can't take away from the fact that Teddy probably did see something there that he did express that I kind of could agree with, and who knows what's in a fighter's heart or mind, and that's the whole thing. That's what's going to be revealed Saturday night. Now, he could be just trying to be comfortable in a scenario. I mean, this guy's got to know that this is the biggest fight of his career. And I've said it all along. Because he looks thin, because he might be – maybe this is the first time he's taken this fight to another level, to be this serious, to do what he probably should have been showing all along. I got to say he's got one of the greatest cornermen and motivators in his corner with his father. But, if he can't get up for this fight and adhere to a strict training regimen with that kind of incentive and motivation from his father, I don't know what else is going to motivate this guy. But I think this is the biggest fight of his career, and I'll be darned if he's not going to at least try to rise to the occasion and be at his all-time best. And maybe that's what he's going to give us, and I'm hoping that's what he gives us.
Well, he's certainly not going to, and he doesn't have the heart and desire that his father had, and he certainly is no Papa Chavez. And Papa Chavez had some trials and tribulations, some in his youth that forced him or guided him into the sport of boxing, and because of his success, he was able to give Junior a better life, and I think that. That's part of the problem. Junior very well may be just a spoiled kid. What do you think?
Well, that's the same thing. You look at the situations that a father passing the baton on to his son. It's like I tell Nicholas, or my boys, not to try to be me, but be yourself. And if you want to try and fight, I'll help you where I can. But you're not doing it for anybody else but yourself. And I think Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., sure, he's had a lot to live up to. He's had a lot to follow. And I think he's gotten some passes just on his name, certainly. But the bottom line is, Saturday night, there's only going to be one Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. with the gloves on in that ring, and that's going to be him. And he's got to look at himself in the mirror. And if he has any of that father's and son's pride or passion and fire as his culture and as his warrior heart can express, it's going to have to be that night. If it's been dormant all these years, guess what? Unleash, open it up, and let's see the greatest fight of your career Saturday night against the greatest opponent that you faced thus far.
Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. In the final press conference yesterday said, "I feel ready and happy that the fight's only a couple of days away. I came here to win. I'm not coming just to fight. Everything has already been said. We've all spoken, and I'm here to win this great fight on Saturday." He says, "This is my last opportunity, and I'm going to take advantage of it." That is true, Sal. I mean, I've said all along, how many chances does this kid get? Do you think he genuinely feels that way?
I'm hoping he does, because that's what I'm saying. This is his last chance. This is a make-or-break fight for him. This is call it, do it, face the music, face yourself in the mirror, and look at who's looking back, and go out there and give it your best. And that's also the kind of talk that a father and a son should have, and I'm sure they have. And you know what? This is his big last and maybe first hurrah, because he's got to put it all out on the line. This is what his whole life has been accumulating as a boxer to do and to be. And this is the moment that he's got to rise to the occasion. That's it.
No
Said
doubt.
and done.
No doubt. No doubt. Canelo Alvarez, he said, on my behalf, I'm going to do everything on my side to make this one of the most historic fights in Mexico. We will be ready on Saturday. Every fight's important to me and my career, and this fight's no exception. I'm happy the fight's going to be here on Saturday. Again, he talks with a lot of pride in Mexico, but I still just, every time I think of Canelo Alvarez, I think of his statement, "Us Mexicans don't F around." And since he said that, all he's done is F around, ducking the guy we want. I think it's going to be a tough fight for these guys, both of them, but we'll have to wait and see, Sal. Real quickly, what's your thoughts? You got about a minute. What's your thoughts on what Canelo says? And then we'll take a break. And I got something else that I want to talk about, which is crazy. But what's your thoughts?
I like crazy. Anyway, what my thoughts are, Canelo Alvarez too. Pressure's on him, and because you know what, Chavez Jr. has nothing to lose in a sense. He's going to go out there. If he loses, he wasn't expected to win maybe. If he wins, it's a big upset. So the pressure's on Canelo Alvarez. He's got to not only win, but he's got to look convincingly dominant, and he's got to win in style and fashion, and he's got to pull it out. He's got to dig deep. It's going to be a good fight from that aspect. If we could see him pull out where his reserves and be a combatant throughout the whole entire fight, and if he wins, then that's going to be it. The pressure's on him.
Well, let's take a short break. When I come back, I got some more to talk about. We'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
If you or a loved one have had hernia repair surgery with mesh reinforcement and suffered infection, chronic pain, mesh migration, mesh failure, organ damage, or needed additional surgery, call the Rely On Group right now. You may be eligible to receive a cash award and compensation for your medical expenses. Your voice deserves to be heard. Call the Rely On Group to be connected with a personal injury attorney for a free consultation. Call 800-715-4869. That's 800-715-4869.
Snacking has never been.
Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be here. Hey, don't forget about downloading our app. Go to Fight, that's F-I-T-E, fight.tv/Billy C. Download the app today. And we're talking about Sal and I are talking about the big fight this weekend. But let's go back to one of the big fights from last weekend, Sal. Some guy named Anthony Joshua and another fella named Vladimir Klitschko fought in one of the most exciting heavyweight fights that I can recall in quite some time. Well, some stuff. Nobody likes Anthony Joshua more than me, and nobody feels that Anthony Joshua is the biggest thing in the heavyweight division, and no one thinks that he's better for the sport of boxing than any other fighter today. However, I don't think he should be termed a great fighter just yet. I mean, he's 19-0 with 19 knockouts. Yes, he's a world champion. Yes, he's a unified world champion. But he's not the greatest fighter in the heavyweight division. There are actually people, and I know there's a lot of specifically British fans that are very passionate about Anthony Joshua and his success. But I've seen on social media, and I was planning on having Dax come on today, and I guess he won't be. But people in social media, Sal, are starting to compare him to Muhammad Ali. They're saying that he's better than Muhammad Ali. I'm not so sure we should give him those accolades yet. What's your thoughts?
I'm not ready to swallow that one either, man. I'll tell you what. Muhammad Ali was a once-in-a-lifetime special athlete, and just a charismatic, athletic specimen that did things that went against all odds, and no, Bill, he is nowhere near the accomplishments of Muhammad Ali, not just yet. So I think he's got a long way to go, and he's a good fighter, a very strong fighter on some levels. He's got to work on his conditioning. He's got to work on his ring generalship. He's got to work on inside fighting. But I think he's dominant. I think he's a good champion. I think he's a great figure, a youth in the heavyweight division that's going to hopefully bring the heavyweight division back to the limelight as it's starting to be. And I think he's great for boxing. So with those things said, you want to talk about marination. I still got to marinate that greatest of all time. Forget about it.
I got to marinate a steak I want to have later. But some other things that are very upsetting. We're always talking about how bad the sanctioning bodies are for the sport of boxing, and it goes with every division. But these sanctioning bodies, the WBC they created a belt for this fight coming up this weekend. The Cinco de Mayo championship belt or whatever they're calling it. It's almost like, how kids get the participation trophies, which really bothers me. Every kid gets a trophy, and mom and dad, oh, Johnny just wants to have fun. Oh, is that your son out there picking daisies? Oh, yeah. He's just out there having fun. And meanwhile, the other kids are like, oh man, I learn to do something. And I always used to say, you know what? The parents, we don't keep score. Oh, everybody gets a trophy. Ask the kids. The kids know what the score is. Well, guess what, Sal? I think boxing has become that. People are getting belts now, like participation belts. Everybody's got a title belt in the sport of boxing. What do you think?
Well, it's so funny because when I made my comeback just a couple of years ago, I told you and John that I wanted to get a title shot. I wanted to fight and win a belt. And both of you, in stereo, one ear and the other, was like, Sal, you have no idea 30 years later from when you fought, 25 years, how many belts there are. And it's not going to be that difficult for you to get a belt. And I said, what? and now I see it, what you meant by that comment. And it's unbelievable. No, these shouldn't be handed out as participation belts or whatever it is. No, you got to tighten up. And this, I mean, there should be one world sanctioning body. There never will be. And there should be one champion per weight class. And that should be a world title belt that is coveted and that is held high and that is the baddest man on the planet in that weight division. And that's how it should be. Is it ever going to be? No. There's too much money, too much greed, and too many world sanctioning bodies that want to keep their filtration system and their money flow and the cash flow coming in. So, no. The best we could do, I don't know, each division, title elimination, belt, I don't even like that belt. I think it should be all of the titles should be a unification and one belt. That's what they should do. Every time they get a champion in one division, they should have a unification once a year, last quarter of the year, and see what happens.
Yeah, but then here's what happens.
I know.
You know, you got, this is it's a great segue because here we are. This past weekend, we saw arguably the best heavyweight fight in a very long time.
Wow.
And it was a unification fight. Anthony Joshua went in there as the IBF World Heavyweight Champion. On the line also was the vacant super WBA heavyweight, or the way they worded it is the WBA heavyweight super champion belt. It had been vacant, which I don't know how that becomes vacant. I thought that the regular champion wins that and whatever. So that was vacant. God. So that was on the line. He won that. And also the IBO, which I think is the fifth best sanctioning body out there. I can't believe I'm even saying
How
it.
Many
but,
are there?
The fifth. And that was vacant because Klitschko had held that one for a long time. So at the end of the night, Anthony Joshua ended up with three of the major belts around his waist. Now everybody's clamoring, Deontay Wilder. Now, Deontay Wilder has the WBC belt, and just to keep you guys posted, the WBA regular world heavyweight title is vacant. And the nail-biter of a fight that I know everybody can't wait for, Shannon Briggs, 155 years old, fighting Fred Oquendo, who's 135. Between the two of them, they're older than the United States, if you add their ages together. And they're fighting for the, vacant, regular old title. Like I said, Deontay Wilder is the WBC champion. And the WBO titleist, Joseph Parker from the land down under, he's fighting Razvan Kajanu, who comes in out of left field and gets a shot. So there's the major heavyweight title picture. But it was announced that the International Boxing Federation, which is Anthony Joshua's belt, the first one he got, is ordering Anthony Joshua to fight their number one contender, which is Kubrat Pulev, who just beat Kevin Johnson. And they're saying that this fight must take place by November. So here's the thing. We're constantly criticizing fighters, and I've been very critical of Deontay Wilder, and the reason why is because Deontay pounds his chest and says he's the best. Anthony Joshua hasn't done that yet. But we all want to see AJ fight Wilder because, most people feel those are the top two heavyweights in the division. And now all of a sudden, the IBF throws a wrench in the mix when and if we were even going to get discussions for a potential showdown with Wilder and Joshua, which they'll probably put off till 2018 anyway, Sal, because that's the way these people are in the sport. But, to suggest that Anthony Joshua must fight another guy, that puts stuff on hold. That prevents us from having the fights that we want. When are sanctioning bodies going to let the natural flow of things? Because they've threatened Anthony Joshua and said, literally, we'll strip you of your title if you don't fight Pulov. So assuming Anthony Joshua wants to go for Deontay Wilder in the fall, which I doubt Wilder's got the you-know-whats to do it, but then they strip Joshua of that. Now all of a sudden we have another open title. And guess who gets to fight for it? Pulov against some other slug. So, I mean, we can't always blame the fighters and the promoters, which I love to do. But these sanctioning bodies, they're the worst of the worst of the worst. What do you think?
Well, again, why? Because they want to protect their investment and they want to cover their expenses and they want to do a lot of things that is always not in the best interest of the fighters and of the boxing fans, of course. It's in their own best interest. Because if it was a level playing field, we'd see some of the things that you and I discuss every day about boxing. But that's not going to happen. They've got commitments, obligations, and other things. And you will never see an Anthony Joshua pound his chest. It's just not his makeup, his demeanor. I think he'll try to obey and do what he is expected to do by whoever is controlling or managing or wanting to look out for his best interests, supposedly. But I think, for him to forfeit that title and maybe go for the one that Deontay Wilder has is going to have to be a decision that only he can make. Because I'll tell you what, it's that kind of makeup. There's that kind of animal, boxing. The boxing game, like I said, there was a book, Only the Ring Was Squared, written by Teddy Brenner. And it's not always a level playing field. And that's the way it goes. It's just not what you could expect. Don't expect what's expected. I like that. Don't expect what's expected.
The thing is this. Let's say that Anthony Joshua respects the IBF and says, okay, I'll fight Pulov in November, which incidentally is it's kind of a long way off. I would like to see him fight sooner than that, but whatever. And then Deontay Wilder comes out and says, I want Anthony Joshua, but he's backing out. He won't fight me. He's picking Pulov instead. And then he picks another fight. And then next thing you know, they're talking about mid-2018 to fight. I mean, it's just, it's just smoke screen. And the fans that believe it, then you'll have the Deontay Wilder. And I can't believe, everybody thinks I don't look at the comments that people make in like our YouTube comment section and all this. I can't believe that there's guys out there that actually think Deontay Wilder could beat Anthony Joshua. He's got these fans, and I hate to say it, but the fans that think that Deontay Wilder is the real deal, you guys just don't know boxing. I'm sorry, no disrespect, but you just don't. If you can't see that this guy has fought no one, not one quality fighter, and just because they've marketed him and made you believe that he's the best, I feel sorry, and they'll be the same fans that'll, because if Anthony Joshua was forced to fight Pulov, they'll be the same fans that say, oh, he's ducking Wilder. He's ducking Wilder. Right, Sal?
Well, of course. And, the whole thing is this, though. You said the key term, fans. Now, growing up, Bill, you and I had, we were fans of certain athletes, and, to us at that time, most of our idols or that we were fans of were flawless, or we thought, we could make excuses for them. We could rationalize. We could do whatever we could do if it didn't make sense. You can't blame the fans that are passionate about who they like or follow in that regard. I think, they will turn a cheek, they will believe the rhetoric, and they will see what's going on because they don't have to look that far past or that deep. And if there are some of those fans of Deontay Wilder that think he is the baddest man out there and that he could beat anybody, well, you know what? It's going to be what it is. And they're going to have to see the realization if he gets knocked out once he faces an Anthony Joshua. And then they're going to say, oops, I guess he wasn't the best or whatever. But I can't blame a fan for being passionate about who they like and who they could connect with. And that's what this whole thing is. Don't forget, I think most fans that go and drive to or gravitate to a boxer, they see something in that boxer they can identify with. They feel maybe attached. They feel maybe something there. So that becomes part of their drive, part of their incentive. That's part of them. And that's why they're passionate about it. So, the realization of what boxing could do or bring and the thrill of victory and the agony of the feat. I'll say the feat. Uh, you know, it all comes out in the end, and so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, the sad thing is
It's sad. It is sad.
well, the sad thing is it just seems like the younger fans today are just they buy into the BS. They're very they believe whatever they hear and see, and I think the only way you can really see the truth is based on performance. Anthony Joshua proved a lot of things beating Klitschko the other night. It wasn't an easy fight. He proved a lot of things. He also showed a lot of other things. One of my big concerns or my big things about determining if a fighter is great, and I'm not suggesting AJ is great yet, but some of the things that create greatness are signature fights, are coming back from adversity, getting up off the canvas and winning a fight. Doing all these things, challenging yourself, fighting the best that you can. I mean, all these little pieces of the puzzle make a great fighter. It's been my knock on Floyd because he's never had to get up off the canvas. And people say, well, he never fought anybody that can put him down. Well, that's not entirely true because the guy never challenged himself after he reached the top. He challenged. Obviously, he was forced to be challenged earlier in his career, but once he, saw the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of how he could manipulate the fan base and make the boatloads of cash that he has, which I credit him for. He didn't take chances, so we never got to see the best Floyd. We never got to see if he had heart. When did Floyd Mayweather ever display that he had heart? When did he ever display that he was able to pick his lazy ass up off the canvas? Not that he's really lazy, because he's certainly not. But, Anthony Joshua answered some of those questions this past weekend. All great fighters have answered those questions. And it's just a natural evolution in a fighter's career. What do you think, Sal?
Well, I think you're absolutely right, and like we said, not to put down, a fighter, but I think Deontay Wilder, in his case, he was marketed very well by the promotional team, by the management team, and by all of his fans. I mean, the guy was marketed well, and that accounts for something. And we're going to see what happens in the end. But as far as greatness, and as you said, and I think, as I understand it, your big knock with Floyd Mayweather is just that you didn't see him really having to challenge himself, and like the Warriors did the other week, last week. You saw Anthony Joshua and Klitschko wanting to pound their chest or pound the other guy's chest actually, and come out the victor. And as many questions as Anthony Joshua answered, he got up off the canvas. He took a hell of a shot. He was able to come back and win. You know what? He also left other questions open, such as his conditioning, such as his inability to tie up the fighter, such as his need to learn how to do a little more infighting, such as other things are exposed. And those are things he's got to go back in the gym and he's got to work on. And that's how you become a well-rounded, functional fighter in any scenario. And then you become one that you could start looking at. That's greatness out there. So certainly, it is what it is. I think fighters need to challenge themselves. And you know what? Because when you look in that mirror, like I said, I use that term all the time. There's only one person looking back at you. And if you can answer that person in that mirror, what you think as far as are you truly the best out there? Are you truly the one that could beat anybody and everybody? Are you ready to do that? Then you got to look back and say, hey, I've got to make sure I can do that. Or I've got to make sure that I let everybody else know that I want to do that and can do that. But that's it. So I believe all fighters, every day, it's a lonely sport. They got to challenge themselves. They got to try to rise, to be the best, to take what they can, to learn, and to go on and to challenge themselves to be their very best. That's it.
It sounds like you're almost going to lose your voice after that.
I talk too much. I need a sip of my coffee and scotch. No, I didn't say that.
Let's get everybody caught up on some other happenings
Yes,
outside
please.
the sport of boxing. Over in the NBA playoffs, the Cavaliers beat the Raptors 125-103 last night. They lead that series 2-0. In the West, the Spurs kind of had their way with the Rockets. They've beaten them up 121-96 to tie that series one game apiece. In the NHL, the Penguins, they beat the Capitals 3-2. They take a commanding 3-1 game lead in that series. And the Quack Ducks coming from behind and beat the Oilers 4-3, tie that series up at 2 games apiece. So we'll keep you posted on those. And then over in the baseball world,
Yes.
the Yankees continue their winning ways. They beat the Blue Jays 8-6. And this is a good thing because, the Yankees traditionally have had trouble with the Blue Jays. So
Yes, they're
they seem to
spoilers.
have their number this year. They won 8-6. The Nationals beat the Diamondbacks 2-1. Red Sox over the Orioles 4-2. The Indians, not to be confused with the Cookies. That's Oreo. I'm sorry. The Indians beat the Tigers 3-2. The Reds beat the Pirates 7-2. The Marlins over the Rays 10-6. The Mets, again, the pitching sucks, but all of a sudden they start hitting 16-5. They beat the Braves to pull themselves out of last place. Big deal. The Mets need a lot more than that. I'm so disappointed. I'm not even watching the games anymore. It's very sickening. The Cubs over the Phillies in a tough game, 5-4. The Twins beat the A's 7-4. The Astros slapped around the Rangers 10-1. The Royals over the White Sox 6-1. The Mariners over the Angels 8-7 in a tight one. The Giants and the Dodgers, they battled for 11 innings, and the Giants came out on top 4-1. The Rockies rocked the Padres 11-3. And for all you Brewer and St. Louis Cardinal fans, that game in St. Louis was postponed yesterday. So we got everybody caught up on those sports. And I actually have an email I want to read. This one's from my man Jesse, Sal, and he says, hey, Billy C. and Sal, I believe Chavez Jr. can beat Canelo, but he must throw at least 125 to 150 effective punches per round. He must tire Canelo out, and with his pressure and effective punching, he must punch the lower body, shoulders, and then go for the head, move laterally and dip for his defense, then move to offense to pressure Canelo. He cannot just let Canelo hit him. Canelo does get tired and leads him to cement legs, which slows his punch output. That's in a sense what we've been saying. I think he definitely needs to incorporate a full body attack. But I also would like to see Canelo move a bit. I think that would help him out if he was able to move around a little bit in that fight. Traditionally, he hasn't shown us any spectacular movement in the past, but if he was able to move a bit, he certainly would be effective, I guess. The only problem is he's never shown me the ability to punch on the move, Sal. I mean, just to move around the ring, to me, that sets up Canelo to be chasing him. What do you think?
Well, I think you're right. And I think Jesse hit it on the head, and that was a pretty good assessment. And I think each fighter is going to be trying to see what they can do to counter each style. And they got to come in, they got to fight their own fight. And I think if Chavez can move and be a multi-dimensional fighter, be tall 1 minute, be shorter the next, and trying to get some movement in his legs and give different angles and different deliveries. I think he's gonna confuse and make Canelo think twice. And we could have an upset come in the making. And boy, I could say a lot, but we'll just leave it at that right now.
Yeah, well, I do feel that it's very a good chance to do that. One last point that Jesse makes, and we'll take a short break here. He says, Billy, what can you tell a boxer like Ivan Reddick, who pretty much is going to be a one-dimensional boxer and doesn't like to take punches and does not take punches well? He's going to be pretty much a veteran challenger for these young guys. Would you tell him to retire, or can he make pretty decent money fighting these fights against guys like Mendez, etc.? That's a good question. Yesterday my point about Ivan was he and I put some of the blame on his corner, telling him he was ahead and stuff, but it's all about the fighter. In his case, if he had his foot on the gas a little more, he wins that fight. To accept the fact that you're a journeyman, so to speak, or an opponent, which is a better choice of words, that just puts yourself in harm's way, and that also makes you feel inadequate. And as far as being able to make some money, the money is short-lived. You can make a lot of money as an opponent, but only if you're good enough to be fighting the big fights that are money fights. A journeyman's type of an opponent that's a gatekeeper for young fighters on their way up, they don't make a hell of a lot of money. They'll make more than the other fighter, but I would think that I could find a better way to make a living than getting my head smashed in. What do you think, Sal?
Well, I think you're right. And, eventually those type of journeyman fighters, ultimately, if they hang around too long, become punching bags. That's another term. And, nobody should stick around that long to just be a punching bag, because you know what? You're going to be in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and you're going to be out on your heels, and the future's not going to look bright for you. So I think a fighter's got to be smart. You have a couple losses, and you've got to really regroup, assess where do you fit in the boxing world, where do you fit in your weight division, what do you want to see from yourself, can you give it your all to get back in the contention for the title shot, or are you going to be happy just making a couple $1,000s here and there, fighting as an opponent, being brought in maybe as a spoiler? It's a question that each fighter's got to look in the mirror and say, where do I stand in my career, in this realm of my boxing world? And if you're just going to be a boxing journeyman, an opponent, a punching bag, well, you got to look out for your own safety too. Because the prize, like I always said, for boys and girls, the prize has to be worth the price. And that's it.
No doubt.
You got to know there's a price.
We're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we'll talk some more boxing. Yeah, imagine that. We'll talk some more. We'll be back.
Hey, I love it.
Billy C will be right back.
Have you heard? Proactive Plus is faster and better than ever. Stay tuned for a $1 million bottle giveaway, and you'll also receive free shipping. Do you have troubled skin? Acne? Well, we have great news. With Proactive Plus, your acne can heal, and you can help prevent new breakouts from happening. Don't miss this limited time offer. Give us a call at 800-567-0214, because we're going to let 1 million people try Proactive Plus risk-free and get 2 free gifts, and also receive free shipping when you call right now. You heard it. This offer won't last.
Pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools.
A 60-day risk-free trial of Proactive Plus, 2 free extras, and free shipping. Call 800-567-0214. This is our exclusive radio offer, never on TV. Get your risk-free 60-day trial of Proactive Plus with free shipping. That's right, free shipping. Don't wait. Call 800-567-0214. That's 800-567-0214.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Tell me, Kenny, how is it you rub my belly so fine with that secret rub of yours? And don't even tell me what you're gonna do next. I love you, Kenny Bear. Tell me, Kenny baby, What you gonna do next?
Kenny Bear's home for the barbecue rub and seasoning. Grab a bottle today.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative.
Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be here with us. And joining me right now is the man. And if you are in the St. Simons Island, Georgia area, make sure you stop by Sal's Restaurant. It's on Frederica Drive. Just visit his website for all of the directions and phone numbers and all of that. www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. And before we went to break, Sal, we were talking about what were we talking about? I lost my mind. What? Tell me, man. What were you rambling on about, Sal?
And that's exactly what I think I was doing. I try to keep it short too. We were talking about greatness. We were talking about challenging themselves. We were talking about a fighter who's in a position to. Well, we were talking about a lot. Which one was that?
We were talking about journeyman fighters.
Journeyman fighters and becoming opponents and becoming punching bags. It is. It's a hard pill to swallow, and it's a hard thing. And let's face it. There are fighters out there. Everyone who steps in a ring, maybe they don't see themselves as a world champion, but they see themselves as a way to make some money. And again, if that's the goal for some of these fighters to go out there, do their best, but ultimately become an opponent, become a journeyman, make a few bucks here and there, they've got to seriously ask themselves, when is the prize no longer worth the price? How much are they gonna make trading off their brains and their ability to function as a human being later on in life? So. I think that's a serious question. And, supposedly the medical profession and the bodies out there, they do what they can to police fighters with annual physicals and licensing and CAT scans and MRIs and things like that. But, you've got to really ask yourself that. If you think you're taking too many shots to the head or you're getting beat up, you know what? There's other ways to make a living. And if you're having 20 losses in a row or something, maybe you should look at doing something else. And that's a hard pill to swallow.
I obviously, people that know me, I've been in this business a long time. I manage fighters, we promote fights, all that stuff. And, when a fighter comes to me and says, hey, we want you to be in management or we want a advisement contract or whatever, I usually ask a couple of questions, and the first one is the most important one for me, Sal. Is I said, well, what do you want to get out of boxing? What's your goals?
Great question. Great question.
And I'm looking for a specific answer, and I usually get the answer I'm looking for or two others. The one and the two others are Floyd Mayweather's faults because one answer would be I want to make a lot of money. And the other one is, I want to be undefeated. Those are wrong answers for me. The correct answer I'm looking for is I want to be a world champion. And the reason why I look for that answer is because if they're asking to be a world champion, I can turn around and say, okay, this is the game plan. This is how we get there. If they're asking to make a lot of money, I can't promise that. I can't fulfill my end of the bargain because in order to make a lot of money, you got to have some value. You got to build some value. And in order to build value, what a lot of young fighters don't understand is that you're not making the money in the beginning of your career. Your opponents, like we were just talking about, right, like based on that last email, a guy that chooses to make a living inside the boxing ring, maybe it's his only option, maybe it's all he knows. That guy that's basically a tough guy that fights these blue chip fighters and ends up losing, he's making more money than the A side, than the blue chip, than the guy that you're trying to build up. A lot of young fighters don't understand it. They think, oh, I'm the best fighter, I should be making more money. No, not when you're building up, not until you have value. And as far as an undefeated record, if that's your main goal, listen, don't get me wrong, that's a great goal to have, never to lose. But a lot of fighters will have that goal in mind, then they never want to fight anybody. You bring a fight, hey, you know how many times, Sal, that I get a guy who's like 4-0, 5-0, and we say, okay, we got a fight for you to give us an answer on. It's against a 3-5 guy. Now we got a 5-0 guy against a 3-5 guy. You know how many times the trainer of the 5-0 guy will say, oh no, 3-5, oh no, that guy's too tough for us, too tough. It's like 3-5. What are you looking for? A guy that never threw a punch. Then me. From a management role or a promotional role, I'm sitting there looking at a fighter that, really they're scared to fight anybody, and I don't want that. What's your thoughts?
No, well, exactly that. I mean, let me tell you, I wanted to be a fighter because I thought I had something special. I wanted to be a world champion. I wanted to be as great of a fighter as I could be. And that was my incentive. I knew the money would follow if I reached that pinnacle top of the mountain. And I never worried about that. And you know what? My pro debut I made on ESPN, Top Rank. I made a pro debut, 4-rounder. I got paid $400. It wasn't big money in '82, but it was okay. It was an incentive. I didn't care about the money. I wanted to be the best fighter out there, and I thought I could be. And like I said, it's a game that it's a fight game that you are fighting yourselves half the time, and you've got a lot of questions to answer to get on to hopefully have the right people behind you that can help shape, mold, and guide your career. Because that's what also that it takes. It takes people that have a vested interest that are going to make sure that they guide you to that world title championship bout. Because that's all you're looking for, is that championship bout, and you're on your own.
I want a real fighter. And when I say real fighter, our game plan generally, of course you get the right fights, but at some point in time, you want to progress. And I say this all the time. I'm a broken record about this. You got to progressively increase your level of opposition for your fighters.
Absolutely.
If you don't, they never get better. They never get better. So the truth of the matter is you got to increase the level of opposition. If you don't, your fighter's never going to get better. And we see it so much today, Sal. You see a fighter, they're introduced, and again, no disrespect to the younger fan or the new boxing fan. If you're looking at a guy and you see, and it's not just the fans, it's the television producers and everything else that, when they get presented a fight and they see, fighter A, 22-1 against fighter B, 17-0, they go, oh, fighter B, he must be good. He's never lost. And they don't look at the guys he fought. Not 17-0 against the guys that never had a winning record. And that doesn't help fighters. We've seen it so much today, especially today, where you see a fight, you see a guy that steps in the ring with an impressive-looking record, and then all of a sudden you see him get blown out, and you say to yourself, wow, what happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. If you dissect and look at this guy's record, you'll see that for 17, 18, 20 fights, he never fought anyone. He never challenged himself. He was maneuvered into a position to get that fight. Now, maybe he made a few bucks in that fight. Maybe he made a couple of bucks. But guess what? Your team did you wrong because they cashed out on you. They exposed you as not being a good fighter. And then all of a sudden you're going to get all kinds of offers because let's face it, if you're 18-0, 19-0, and you never fought anybody, there's a whole bunch of other fighters that won't fight you because you're undefeated. Now, once you get exposed, now all the phone starts ringing off the hook, and people are glad to feed you to one of their fighters. So really, it's a lose-lose-lose situation for a fighter that doesn't challenge himself on the way up, Sal.
Absolutely. They'll catch up to you. And you hope, when you start out as a 4-round fighter, you hope you gravitate to 6 rounds, then to 8 rounds, then you become a 10-round fighter, a main event fighter. And that along that gravitation, along that pathway, your opponents should become more and more proficient and better. And that's how you school, and that's how you get a well-rounded fighter. He faces different opponents at different levels, and he's challenging himself, and you see what he's made of.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is what
That's
it
the way
is.
it should progress along.
Well, you would hope. So tomorrow night, there's a couple of good fights on, and the one I'm very interested in, which will be on ESPN, is Yuriorkis Gamboa. Is finally returning to the ring. A fighter that I wish we got to see more of, and I wish that he had made some better decisions with signing with specific management teams. But he's going to be fighting against Robinson Castellanos tomorrow night, which I think would be a decent fight. I mean, I love Gamboa. Everybody that's he's worked with a couple of different trainers, and they have a tendency to try to make him do things that he's not, great at. And I wish that he just does what he does best. Go in there and be aggressive and roll the dice. Exciting fighter when he fights like that. Not so much when he doesn't. I've seen him ringside several times in not so exciting fights. What's your thoughts on these fighters that basically try something new when they're at the end or close to the end of their career, Sal?
Well, like I said, a fighter who's facing that, maybe they try to reinvent themselves. Maybe they can try to adapt a new style, new format, new thing, and try it. If it works, hey, maybe he's on another level. Maybe he's on another playing field. Maybe he can sustain some span of success in that career. But if he's trying and he's not having the success, it's time to, like I said, face the music, because your health should ultimately be your wealth. And like I said, there's a lot of fighters out there today that may have made different choices if they look at where they are as far as health-wise today.
On Saturday, we have the big fight, of course.
We do.
Canelo Alvarez against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., but the undercard isn't too bad either. David Lemieux is getting back into the ring by today's standards quickly after his brutal knockout of Curtis Stevens. And as a matter of fact, Yuriorkis Gamboa was on that undercard, so he's fighting basically 1 day sooner, which is busy by today's standards, which is kind of sad. Lemieux is taking on Marcos Reyes, who I believe is moving up a little bit. I think Reyes was predominantly a junior middleweight, but if my memory serves me correctly, which it's kind of been failing me lately, I think Marcos Reyes started out as a welterweight. But anyway, Lemieux will be in there with him, and Lemieux claimed that he was in the best shape or better shape than he was against Curtis Stevens, and we all saw what happened to Curtis Stevens. Also on that card is Lucas Matisse going up against Emmanuel Taylor. Emmanuel Taylor is an exact example of what I'm talking about, where a promoter coddles them and builds up their record for money fights. Now, you might be saying, hey, Billy C., money fight. Yeah, but the promoter's the guy that's making the bigger not a bigger cut of the purses than the fighter, but he's making a bigger chunk of money for not taking any risk. Maybe he hand-fed a guy like Emmanuel Taylor some easy fights to get his record to a point where it was respectful. Since then, Emmanuel Taylor has been, in some really tough fights. And when you're in that level fight later, you don't have a time to develop. If they progressively increase your level of opposition like we're talking about, Sal, you get a chance to get better. You get a chance to review what maybe you did wrong, and you're a better fighter. What does a fighter do when they're coddled? And Deontay Wilder is going to be going through this as soon as he gets knocked the F out by Anthony Joshua. But what can a fighter do if they realize that they weren't as good as they thought?
Well, again, that is a soul-searching, mirror-looking back at you question that every fighter's got to face, and it's a realization. And what do? Do you put your head down and say, oh boy, I thought. No, you say, hey, it is what it is. This is the black and white facts. How did I lose that fight? What did I did? What did I do wrong? And what could I do to improve and not let that happen again? I mean, that happens in the progression of your amateur style fighting. You get in a ring with somebody. If he outboxes you, you don't cut the ring off. You learn. You go to school. If you get beat, you learn. You go to school. And if you can improve on it, if you can counter that, even at that level, then just do it. And that's it. Just get back in the ring, show what you have, and show that you learned a lesson from your last fight, from your defeat. And that it's not going to be the same scenario. Whether you drop a jab or drop a left and you're getting hit over the top, you got to learn to keep the hand up. Whether you can't condition yourself in a certain way or an opponent's cutting the ring off on you, you learn how to do that. You come back a better fighter. If you're on that level and you lose because of a certain style, certain way, a certain opposition that he gave you a view that you didn't know how to contend with, well, first of all, you should know. But second of all, if it's something you weren't ready for, you learn and you drill it into your head in the gym. You do your work and you get back out there and you show the world, hey, guess what? That's not going to happen to me again. I'm ready. That's what you do.
Well, the thing is that I blame the promoter, I blame the fighters, management team, and the fighter to a certain degree. But a lot of times they'll follow what their team says. But you also got to blame the networks, because a network devalues a fighter once they lose, and this perception of being undefeated, is part of the problem. Another fight that's going to be a really good one on this pay-per-view card is Jojo Diaz against Manuel Avila. Manuel Avila is undefeated, and so is Jojo Diaz. Here I am, saying something that I just was critical of. But, in this particular case, both fighters are quality fighters. Now, Jojo Diaz was a good amateur, really good amateur, and he was protected a little bit, and he's been fighting a little stiffer competition. Manuel Avila has fought some tough guys. So I like this matchup, Sal. It's in the featherweight division, and I believe this is going to kick off the pay-per-view. Joseph Diaz admitted that he's in the toughest fight of his career. What goes through a fighter's mind when they know that they're in for a tough fight? I know every fighter will tell you, I don't look past this fight, which I know is BS. A lot of times when a fighter knows he's going to have an easy night and he's looking ahead to his next fight, what's the reverse? What's going through a fighter's mind when they know that they're going to be in a scrap that night? How do they adjust? What goes through their mind?
Well, what they're really thinking about is exactly what's at hand for them, the challenge of that opponent in front of them. And they really don't look past. They should hone in and see how they're going to display and what they're going to do to beat that opponent. They study films, they look at this, and they know they're going to be in tough, and their conditioning, they should leave everything up to what their trainer's instructing them to, but they've got to feel that they're peaking at the right time. They got to prepare all along. It's like the vision quest. You put the tunnel vision on, and you know you're going to be in for a tough fight, like we're going to see Saturday night. These guys should not look past this fight. These guys should have the blinders on. They should know what to expect from their opponent. They should be drilling in the gym, learning what that style that they're going to face is all about, And so there's no surprises. Or if there is a surprise, they're going to be willing to and able to handle it, channel it, and redirect it onto their opponent. You've got to pull all stops. You prepare for what's at hand, and you do it diligently, and you do it readily, because there's got to be no surprise. And if there is, you got to be ready for that. And you got to take it to them, and you got to fight to win.
Well, I would hope that every fighter fights to win. You
Yeah,
know?
I know. I just borrowed that saying from Aaron
No,
Pryor.
I'm just saying. Yeah. But anyway, hey, listen, we'll open up the phone lines right now for one or two callers. I got a couple minutes before I have to take a break, and the only bad part is we'll take a caller and we'll have to kick Sal to the curb for a minute or two.
It won't be the first time.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't mean kick you while you're down. I mean kick you to the curb just temporarily. But so if you have any thoughts on our topic today, which is, did Canelo, if Canelo wins, did he wait too long for the Triple G fight? Should he fight Triple G? Definitely in his next fight. Give us a call, 845-228-8710. We will open up the phone lines for one or two callers. 845-228-8710. That's my topic today. And also, if you have any thoughts on the fight itself with Canelo and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., I actually had a couple of people trying to call in a little earlier, and I had to not take the call because we didn't want to kick Sal to the curb until he's ready to be kicked to the curb. But another fight that's taking place this weekend is Joseph Parker against Razvan Kajanu. It is for the the WBO World Heavyweight title, and that particular fight is kind of crazy because Joseph Parker is ranked at number 7 in the world as a heavyweight, and his last fight was a win over Andy Ruiz. He did beat Alexander Dimitrenko and Carlos Takam. Those were two decent names. I'll give him credit for Cali Meehan in 2015 as well. He did fight some decent opponents. Andy Ruiz Jr. Was a controversial fight. I mean, he won a majority decision. A lot of people felt that Andy won that fight. I wish Andy Ruiz would be in a little better shape. But he steps in with a guy who definitely was a fighter that was a last-minute substitute or a last-minute guy that came in as a sub. But I'm going to hold that thought because we got a caller on the line right now. We just had to kick Sal to the curb. But what's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Robert Pagan.
What's up, man? What's your thoughts on the fight this weekend? Do you think that, first of all, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the fight. And then do you think that Canelo waited too long to fight Triple G?
Here's my opinion. Is you talked earlier about, looking past. Let's look at, hoping that Canelo's not looking past Julio Cesar Chavez. Because the reason why I said that is you look at Zav Judah with Carlos Baldomir. Completely looked past him. Didn't even bother looking at him. And next thing you know, complete upset. You got to look at Chavez. He's a much bigger guy at 6'1" versus 5'9", and he's got a puncher's chance. Everybody's got a puncher's chance. When you get in there, you could play baseball, you could play football, but you ain't playing boxing.
Listen, man,
So,
I've been saying, when they first announced, I don't know how long you've been watching or listening to our show, but when they first announced the fight, me, like everybody else, I was like, Canelo fighting Chavez Jr. But like 2 days later, I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. And I've been saying about Canelo's weakness, what he does that I feel is really poor, fights right into Chavez's strength, which is Canelo has a tendency to have to stand in front of his opponent before he can unleash, a barrage of punches. He does not punch well on the move. And, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and I agree with everything you said. He's bigger, he's strong. But what he does best is work the body. I'm going to give my official prediction tomorrow, but I'll tell you what, I smell upset all over this fight.
And you got to understand also, Chavez doesn't have no schmo, some schmuck in his corner. He has a natural Berenstain. Nacho Berenstein's, Hall of Famer, 1,000% of the way. And that's the king of the counterpunch right there. So let's just hope that Canelo doesn't look past this, because he's going to regret this. Like you talked to Yuriokas Gamboa. Yuriokas Gamboa, to this day, I bet you he is regretting the day he did not fight Juanma Lopez for big money when he had the opportunity, when they were pound for pounders, when they were freaking on top of their game. Until Juanma was exposed of having a glass chin, and next thing you know, Yuriokas Gamboa. It's sad to see it. Gone are the days of you could have 3 or 4 or 5 losses, still considered an A-quality fighter. I mean, what was it? Willie Pep had 71 wins, 1 loss, and he went on a tear for 70 more.
Well,
days,
hey, listen.
You have a loss, it's over.
Nobody agrees with you more than that than me. We talk about that on this show all the time. It's sad that the fan base today devalues a fighter as soon as they lose, and as a result, we get fighters that their records are built up and they're not very good. I wish that people would accept losses, and Gamboa is a great example. I love Gamboa. I agree with you.
The fighting style is beautiful.
Oh no, I mean he's exciting. I mean the problem with Gamboa was that he made some bad business decisions with teams that he signed with. But the other thing is everybody tried to change him because he was an aggressive, offensive-minded guy, which was his defense. And when trainers tried to say, well, you got to think more defense, don't do this, don't do that, that's when the boring part came in. So yeah, I mean, listen, one of the best amateurs ever.
Rigondeaux.
What's that?
Leave that defense for Rigondeaux.
Right. That's his style. No, dude, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. What's your prediction for the fight this weekend?
It smells upset all the way. I honestly, it's a toss-up, but I'm actually going to stick with my prediction of Canelo, just because Canelo's got grit, and it's a shame what he's doing. He the biggest thing he walked in there, he said, "No mames, los mexicanos no mames," and you know what I mean. He said about Triple G, he's going to fight Triple G. Well, he's doing exactly what Mayweather did. He's first off, Mayweather waited for Pacquiao. He waited 5 years, and now you're looking at that fight where after he beat Miguel Cotto, who is, in my opinion, I'm Puerto Rican. I named my son after Miguel Cotto. That's how much I love Miguel Cotto. Is a natural 147-pounder, anyways, and. He waited. So he's waiting for Triple G to lose that step. And in boxing, losing that step is critical.
Well,
and I think it's a doggone shame that him and Team Golden Boy are doing this. But it's the business side. It wouldn't even surprise me if he doesn't fight Triple G at the end of this year.
If he doesn't fight Triple G at the end of this year, I think a lot of people are going to lose respect for him. I'm already starting to lose respect. I get it. I know he's trying to wait a little longer. He's still young. Triple G is starting to age. Triple G didn't look too good in his last 2 fights, et cetera, et cetera.
He sure didn't.
But the truth of the matter is Canelo, you can't go on and say us Mexicans don't F around and all of this, and then, I'll fight him right now. I mean, he grabs the mic, I'll fight him right now, all of this stuff. I mean, it becomes like the boy who cried wolf, and they're actually devaluing it. I know they're trying to, marinate it, just like you alluded to and mentioned the Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao fight. It turned out to be anticlimactic. People never want to even see them again. It was so bad. Not that I think that Canelo Triple G would be like that, but it's time. This fight is a risky fight for Canelo. I give him credit for it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Chavez upsets the apple cart. Then it will be interesting to see what happens after that. But, hey, make sure you tune in for our post-fight show, and I appreciate you calling in on the cuff today, man.
Hey, thank you very much about mentioning Deontay Wilder. If you don't look at your comments from the last one, everybody's getting into it over that. Because especially Deontay Wilder, after Bermane Stiverne, he's been fed a bunch of tomato cans.
He's never fought anybody, bro. He's never. Listen, Deontay Wilder, as a human being, he's for the reasons that he fights and everything, I respect him. But, I've been around this business a long time. Deontay Wilder has not fought anyone. And what bothers me the most in the sport of boxing is when fighters pound their chest saying that they're the best and they don't have anything to prove. I've said about Anthony Joshua, listen, he's no Muhammad Ali yet. He's no George Foreman yet. He's not even Mike Tyson yet. But at least he's getting better and better.
Be ready.
He's ready, and he's trying,
He looks very much like Lennox Lewis. He reminds me very much of Lennox Lewis.
Well, the difference right off the bat between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder right now is the fact that Deontay Wilder never fought a guy like Klitschko. And when we were talking with Larry Hazard yesterday, I even said, hey, if Klitschko decides to continue his career, let him fight Deontay. If Deontay beats Klitschko, then that sets up a legitimate fight with Anthony Joshua. Listen, Deontay Wilder, all his bomb squad fans, they just drank the Kool-Aid and they believe the BS.
Come off as a hater. You're gonna come off as a hater.
Oh, hey, listen.
As strong as the Mayweather fans.
Listen. They call me. They say I'm racist just because I don't like Mayweather. So give me a break. I'm far from racist. I'm just calling it like it is. Deontay Wilder, I would love to see him. Hey, he's an American heavyweight. I would love to see him do well. Don't get me wrong, but I can't stand fighters that pound their chest when they have nothing to prove, no basis to do it on. He hasn't fought anybody, So I don't know. Berman Stavern, we gave him credit for it, and we all learned that Stavern was a bit of a fraud, So. But anyway, brother, I appreciate the call, and make sure you call again. Make sure you call in again soon, all right?
Love your show. Listen to it all the time. It makes my mornings before I head out to school.
Well, it sounds great.
I'm the oldest freshman you'll see, but hey, college comes sooner or later.
Hey, no, you got to do what you got to do, but make sure you give us a shout after the big fight this weekend because we'll be live.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, brother, have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye.
Another opinion, possibly thinking that we have the possibility of an upset going on, and I think I got Sal back. You back with me, Sal?
I'm back. I was just listening on the comments from the last caller. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, listen, you're back just in time for us to take a quick little break here. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I'm going to finish my thought on the Parker fight, and then we'll talk about some other stuff. So we'll be back, I don't know, I'm going to predict 2 minutes.
Billy C will be right back.
Have you heard? Proactive Plus is faster and better than ever. Stay tuned for a 1,000,000 bottle giveaway, and you'll also receive free shipping. Do you have troubled skin? Acne? Well, we have great news. With Proactive Plus, your acne can heal, and you can help prevent new breakouts from happening. Don't miss this limited time offer. Give us a call at 800-567-0214 because we're going to let 1,000,000 people try Proactive Plus risk-free and get 2 free gifts and also receive free shipping when you call right now. You heard it. This offer won't last long. So call Proactive Plus now and you'll receive a 60-day risk-free trial of Proactive Plus, 2 free extras, and free shipping. Call 800-567-0214. This is our exclusive radio offer, never on TV. Get your risk-free 60-day trial of Proactive Plus with free shipping. That's right, free shipping. Don't wait. Call 800-567-0214. That's 800-567-0214.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
This exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to graze.com for your first box free. Snacking has never been this exciting. At graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to graze.com for your first box free. Snacking has never been this exciting. At graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to graze.com for your first box free. Snacking has never been...
Tell me, Kenny, how is it you rub my belly so fine with that secret rub of yours? And don't even tell me what you're gonna do next. I love you, Kenny Bear. Tell me, Kenny baby, what you gonna do next?
Kenny Bear's Old Florida Barbecue Rub and Seasoning. Grab a bottle today.
Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening to Billy C. Show. You're watching the Billy C. Show. Joining me is Sal C. Sal C. That's right, Sal Senakola. What's up, my man? But anyway.
Yes, sir.
I was talking before we went to break, Sal, about the heavyweight fight that's scheduled for this weekend. And Joseph Parker, although he's had a couple of decent fights, he's stepping in with a guy that they're, basically a late sub who's ranked number 78 in the heavyweight division, 30-year-old, 6'7", Razvan Kajanu. He's fighting at his last fight. He was the heaviest of his career, 282 pounds. He says he's going to rock the heavyweight division, change history, blah, blah, blah. What's your thoughts on a last-minute sub like this?
Well, I'll tell you what. One of my trainers used to say, Sal, always stay in shape, always be 2-3 weeks away from trying to get into the ring and fight anybody because you never know when that opportunity may come. That's what they told me early in my career. That's what they told me middle of my career. And I'll tell you what, it makes sense. And if this guy is that type of fighter that keeps himself in really fairly good shape, although he sounds like he's very heavy, but he's a very big opponent, big guy. Let's see. Maybe this is his chance. He could rise to the occasion. He's going to shock the world, as he said, or shock the heavyweight division. We'll see what he could do. I give him kudos. He's taking a fight, and he's coming in certainly as the underdog. And I want to see a fighter. That's what I always love, to see a fighter rise to the occasion and see the no-sayers and the doubters become surprised. So let's see what this guy could do. I give him credit.
Yeah, well, I just, it's a shame.
It's a shame, yes.
Well, what's a shame is the fact that Huey Fury didn't report an injury sooner. And, we can blame, Joseph Parker as much as we want. I kind of blame the fact that, I guess you can't, because the WBO, I'm sure, had to, they definitely finagled Kajanu into the right numbered spot for them to approve it. But, it just goes to show you, Sal, fighters should be ready for the call, right?
They should be ready for the call. And, it's When did he come out? About a week back? A little fun on words, but yeah, the fighters should be ready. They should always be ready. They should be ready within a, couple of weeks to get in a ring, and especially on this level. Of course, when you're a champion, you got your driver's seat. No, you don't have to worry about that. But when you're vying to move yourself up into the position that you can be taken seriously as a contender, yes, always be ready. Sit by that phone because when it rings, you're going to have your one shot to do it, to make it and to break it. And that's when you should be ready to rise to that occasion.
Yeah, well, that's the best thing a fighter can do is be ready. Be ready for the phone call.
Come in as that opponent and leave as the victor.
That's it. And whether your name is Fred or John or whatever, you leave as victor, right?
Yeah, you're a funny guy, Billy Z.
Yeah. Well, yesterday we kicked off our trivia question, and I got an answer pretty quick from a live listener from England, actually. The question yesterday was, what former world champion in his first pro fight defeated a man he would later beat for the world championship? Now, we got a lot of correct answers. I was surprised. Now, a lot of the people that did get it, and I wasn't surprised that we have a smart listener base.
We do.
But I was surprised that people remembered the answer because this was a recycled question. And all the people that got it right, except the first one, which ironically enough wins it. Now, the way we work these trivia questions is if you're the first one to answer it correctly, and we take the answers via email, that you win the prize. And they came in back to back to back to back to back. We had a bunch of all correct. As a matter of fact, everyone that answered this question, everyone that answered this question got it right. The question was, what former world champion, his first pro fight, defeated a man he would later beat in the world championship? Well, James. Okay, go ahead. What is it?
My canned answer from the last time? Jack Dempsey.
No, wasn't Jack Dempsey. Sal, you gotta use a different answer sometimes. Yeah. But anyway, James King from England. He's from London, England. Listening live. I want to give a shout out to all my listeners and viewers in the UK. But James King knew that Curtis Coates beat Manuel Gonzalez in his pro debut in March of 1958. The two met 4 more times, with Curtis Coates winning 3 of the 4. The last time they met was in 1966 for the WBA World Welterweight title, in which Coates won the fight. So congratulations to James King. He won himself a copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game. And I got another copy to give away and another trivia question, and we'll see how quick we get this one answered. So here's the trivia question for today, boys and girls. Which world champion lost the most title fights? Which world champion, or I should say former world champion, lost the most title fights? So we need the answer, and if you're the first one to email me the correct answer, Billy@TalkinBoxing, that's TalkinBoxing.com, you'll win a copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game as well. Which world champion lost the most title fights? If you're the first one to email me, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com, you win the prize. Sal, any final thoughts, my man?
I'll give a hint. It's not Jack Dempsey.
I'll give you a hint. It's definitely not Jack Dempsey.
No, I'll tell you what. I am very excited about this weekend. And, I also, I love David Lemieux. And here's a fighter that goes to school, and he always comes back looking stronger and better. And even the ring announcers last time he was out against Curtis Stevens, thought he looked a little thick-skinned, a little heavier. But he came in, he was in shape, and we'll see how he looks this time. But it's not always how that body looks. It's what the body could deliver. And I'll tell you what, we cannot deny the power that David Lemieux possesses. And I like him, and I can't wait to see him fight, too, on this undercard.
I know you're a big Lemieux fan. Lemieux.
Lemieux.
David Lemieux.
Lemieux.
But I'm looking forward to that.
Is he
fight.
French?
He's what?
That's French, isn't it? I'm teasing.
Yeah, but I mean,
He's
David
French-Canadian.
Lemieux. I mean,
David
that's how.
Lemieux.
Yeah, he's from Quebec, Canada. They talk a lot of French in there, Frenchy. David Lemieux, but he's that's like Peter Sellers. Lemieux. Did you say Lemieux? I said Lemieux. But anyway. Listen. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to give you our final predictions and breakdowns for the Canelo Alvarez and Julio Cesar Chavez fight, which is scheduled for Saturday. Make sure you tune in. We'll try to open up the phone lines, and hopefully my man that called in earlier and more will call in, because there's only one correct phone number here, boys and girls. Please do not listen to any jabonis that will give out phone numbers in any other chat room or comment section other than what's done in our comment and chat room, which is up on BillyCBoxing.com. And truthfully, you need to listen to the show to get to the phone number. We have a phone number that we give out. So anybody that's posting phone numbers only get the number from me. Apparently, there's a jaboni out there posting the wrong call-in number. So I just wanted to make that known. But listen, do yourselves a favor. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, ciao, baby.